Politics and hip-hop have a complex, long-standing relationship. Artists have used their platform to address social and political issues, while institutions have chosen to either embrace or rebuke their message. The civil rights and Black Power movement sowed the seed for hip-hop music. Genres like soul, R&B, jazz, and funk became the soundtrack for the movement, laying the foundation and sonic elements that would later shape hip-hop.
Growing up, for me in the 60s, I remember when The Last Poets came out. Not like the rap that we hear today, but like the early beginnings of putting poetry in a spoken word over a beat.
You know, Stevie Wonder and others were talking about and singing about injustice. This is just continuing the lineage of Black power, resistance, and politics within an art form.
America's public enemy number one in the United States is drug abuse.
In the 60s and 70s, the nation was gripped by a recession. The escalation of the war on drugs with harsh sentencing laws disproportionately affected African American and Latino communities. New York City was burdened by significant debt, resulting in severe cuts to municipal services, including the fire department.
The Bronx is literally burning. Deindustrialization, Robert Moses running the highway through, destroying the community. Black and brown people, no jobs. The young people frustrated.
And these kids were left to their own devices to survive on their own. And many did not survive because the proliferation of gangs was out of control.
It's very easy to look at the Bronx in terms of deficits, redlining, disinvestment, white flight, loss of economic opportunity. But during those years, the Bronx was also creating more varieties of popular music than any place in the world.
Through the chaos, hip-hop emerged from the streets of the Bronx in 1973 as a transformative creative force with the power to inspire, unite, and motivate its audience. Throughout the 70s and 80s, songs like Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five's The Message emerged as a response to the cycle of oppression.
Welfare is a narcotic, a subtle destroyer of the human spirit. And we must now escape the spider's web of dependency.
The cuts to social welfare programs from the Reagan administration of the 1980s, along with incidents of police brutality, notably the killings of Michael Stewart in 1983 and the Rodney King assault in 1991, had a profound effect on the messages conveyed through hip-hop. In 1981, B-Movie by Gil Scott-Heron critiqued in detail the Reagan administration. NWA's 1988 track, F the Police, sent shockwaves through the nation, and Public Enemy's 1990 track, Fight the Power, became the theme of resistance. Hip-hop began to outgrow its subculture origins and evolved into a highly profitable business. With its bold messages and newly minted influences, hip-hop was met with harsh opposition.
I am pleased that this arm of Congress has taken the time to address the urgent problem of the social impact of music violence, a subject that we have been engaged in for more than 5 years in a relentless struggle to persuade the giant music industry to stop the production and worldwide distribution of violent, pornographic, misogynistic, gangster rap music.
See Dolores Tucker, first Black woman Secretary of State in the state of Pennsylvania, who comes out against gangster rap right there next to William Bennett, Alan Tipper Gore, and it demonizes Black youth.
You had a rap singer here last night named Sister Soldier. Her comments before and after Los Angeles were filled with the kind of hatred that you do not honor today and tonight. If you took the words white and black and you reversed them, you might think David Duke was giving that speech.
Hip-hop is branded almost as a kind of shibboleth, a kind of a badge of pathology. And in some ways, Bill Clinton, his presidency is the first to try to seize on that kind of fissure.
Compounding the impact of the war on drugs, Bill Clinton signed the 1994 crime bill, resulting in sentencing disparities and higher incarceration rates for African Americans and Latinos. Throughout the 90s and 2000s, hip-hop faced criticism and accusations of diluting its original message. Debates on hip-hop's authenticity would continue as the genre enjoyed even more commercial dominance well into the new millennium.
Has hip-hop become weaker or stronger as it become more mainstream? I think a lot of artists who are mainstream because obviously they're trying to reach everyone. They're using their platform, their brand. And so using their brand and their platform, they're using that also to influence change, which I believe would lead to the first Black president in this country.
U.S. presidents could not lay claim to really being part of a hip-hop ethos, a hip-hop generation. Of course, Obama is in the hip-hop generation. So when he brings that into the White House, it's very authentic.
Hip-hop music and artists were used to mobilize support for Obama. will.i.am's track, Yes We Can, was used as a campaign slogan.
We will respond with that timeless creed that sums up the spirit of a people. Yes, we can.
Some perceive the election of the first Black president as a step towards a post-racial America. However, these expectations were soon proven incorrect. The Black Lives Matter movement emerged in July 2013, following the murder of Trayvon Martin in 2012.
You know, what happened in Ferguson in 2014, what happened in the killings of Ahmaud Arbery and Breonna Taylor and George Floyd in 2020 are entirely predictable state violence, policing. That is a constant when it comes to Black folk in this country and poor people in general, particularly people of African descent.
Similar to how the civil rights movement used funk and soul, Black Lives Matter utilized hip-hop as its rallying cry and motivational tool.
So by the time we get to Black Lives Matter, I think there is a deliberate attempt, whether it be Kendrick Lamar, whether it be some of the more commercially successful artists, to get out there. So when you hear Kendrick Lamar, record "We Gonna Be All Right," it becomes a natural anthem to be picked up by the Black Lives Matter movement, however we characterize that formation.
The American dream is dead. But if I get elected president, we will make America great again.
The 45th president, Donald Trump, became a highly polarizing figure, both in politics and hip-hop. Initially, Trump was widely referenced in hip-hop music due to his perceived success and wealth.
Donald Trump represents hypercapitalism and excess. It's not something that hip-hop has been curated by the market to promote, the excess. Then as he marched unerringly to the heart of American politics, hip-hop did not come out as a kind of, with a single voice in criticism. That's probably because hip-hop now is different than hip-hop then, of course.
I love this guy right here. Yeah.
Trump's rebuke of the Black Lives Matter movement, controversial statements on race, and discriminatory practices during his career in real estate led him to falling out of favor with the public that once saw him as aspirational. This shift in perception was most notable in YG and Nipsey Hussle's track, F Donald Trump. Today, hip-hop still faces the same stigmas and critiques as it did throughout its existence. According to researchers from the University of Richmond, rap lyrics have been used as evidence in more than 500 cases. In 2022, Representative Jamal Bowman of New York and Representative Hank Johnson of Georgia introduced the Restoring Artistic Protection Act, or the RAP Act.
Hip-hop has evolved from a pure social movement into a menage of reality, today's reality of urban youth. And so oftentimes these lyrics, creative content, being introduced into evidence for the sole purpose of inflaming the passions of jurors against the accused. And so this RAP Act would put into place some guardrails to protect the accused. As of yet, we've not had the buy-in of any Republicans on the RAP Act. I've spoken to a number of them, but their fear is that they will be perceived as being soft on crime should they support this legislation.
Hip-hop remains a dynamic genre, constantly evolving and drawing influences from older and newer generations. It's unclear if hip-hop's relationship with politics will ever be entirely harmonious. This relationship underscores the genre's powerful role in mobilization, driving social discourse, and advocating for positive change.